Ryan Binkley, thanks so much for being here in studio with us. I really appreciate what you're doing and coming to Indiana from Texas. Tell us a little bit about yourself from the perspective of your background for folks at home who maybe aren't aware.
Well, thank you, Phil. Well, I'm CEO of Generational Group. I co-founded this business 20 years ago. It's a merger and acquisition firm, investment banking. Now we do a number of things, growth management, wealth management. We have a software engineering firm, a part of it as well. So overall, about 400 employees across the nation. I'm also a pastor. My wife and I have been in ministry really our whole life, but we actually started a church 10 years ago. And this word came to my heart to run for president about 8 years ago, and I've been praying about it, and now we have launched our campaign about 3 months ago, and our message is that America is in desperate need of an economic revival and a heartfelt spiritual revival. You know, we're so broken in both of these areas, financially, culturally, relationally, so divided. In fact, we've never been this divided as we are in my lifetime. I'm 55 years old, and if we don't come together to solve some of our biggest problems, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, more so than we are now, and that's why I'm running for the next generation.
Are you surprised at how well you've done so far?
Well, it has been a little bit slower than we thought in some ways, but it's started to pick up momentum. So we spent, 2 months on the trail, just now getting our word out there. We've been to 62 counties in Iowa, and then all of a sudden the last month it's really started to pick up. So, for instance, donors. It took us 2 months to get 2,000 donors. Now we've been getting 2,000 a day for 2 weeks now, so we're probably going to hit the number that we have, maybe by today or tomorrow, the 40,000 number. And now we're starting to get more media attention. So we've been on some national media a couple times last week. We're going to be on that again this week. And so it's exciting that people are hearing our message more, that there's a true message we have for balancing our budget. You know, our nation is so broke, so we just launched a 7-year economic rescue plan. We haven't balanced our budget in over 30 years. It's been that long since we've had a president speak to it, I think Ronald Reagan. And so we're talking about key issues that matter.
Moving on from that, where do you see yourself 2 months from now?
Wow. We see ourselves growing in the polls, moving beyond Iowa. Obviously, we're starting our inroad into New Hampshire, and then we'll start going to South Carolina and some of the other early states. We are gaining momentum a little bit in our message because we're starting to broaden it more and we're getting more national attention. Our message is about really getting this financial track on track for the next generation. Right now, we are about to leave the next generation, the next 8 years. We're going to be $50 trillion in debt. We're spending 8% of our budget right now on interest payments that we don't have the money for. And in about 8 years, it's going to be 12 to 14%. So we're communicating. We've got to get this ready now. Otherwise, we're going to be known as the generation, I think, that prospered the most but sacrificed the least. So we have to fix that. Our message is about health care also. You know, we've had 40% higher inflation in health care in the last 20 years. And so it's broken. So I have a plan to actually bring competition, price transparency back into healthcare, put patients back in charge. And so we're talking about things that meet people's pocketbooks. You know, inflation is hitting everybody right now on average $709 more a month. And that's after-tax money than it did just 2 years ago. So we have to rein this in, but the only way to do it is through spending and wise cuts. And then we're trying to culturally reach out to urban America and college students. The Republicans, we've just not done a good job of reaching down to urban America. I really think it's time for our message to resonate, and our message should resonate regardless of your income strata, regardless of your race, regardless of your age. How are we relevant? And that's what we're doing. We're putting together job programs, a volunteer movement to take care of it all more.
Further that a little bit, if you can. How does Ryan Binkley reach out to the inner city?
Absolutely. So right now, you know, if you're struggling financially, a message of free health care, free tuition, free anything is actually very compelling. So what's our alternative? If I believe in fiscal stewardship and I believe in, you know, independence and freedom and not too big of government, what does that mean? Well, I got to start teaching people if they're going to come out of poverty, what are we going to show them? I actually think we're going to have to start community centers, and these are not just public, these aren't publicly run, these are going to be privately run. We're engaging the community, saying, it's time to own our cities. Let's own it, and let's invest in after-school programs and teach people how to have a trade. Let's get back to trade training. You know, 20, 30 years ago, we used to have this a lot more in the United States than we do now. We need to teach young people how to be a plumber, electrician, a carpenter, a mason, computer technology. So many jobs you don't have to have a 4-year degree for. We need to take young people on a track. Either you're going to college or you're starting a career, and we need to have a career that they can actually have a living wage with. There's so many. And after that, we need to start teaching young kids how to read, write, and do math. You know, only 1 out of 6 kids in urban America, particularly minorities, are reading at the 8th grade reading level. 6 out of 10 in the suburbs. So I want to start a volunteer movement with college students saying, give me 5 hours a week. Let's invest in third graders through the fifth graders, teaching them how to read, write, and do math. Let's engage the community. This is the culture that we need to revive in America. You know, so many of us are struggling because it's so broken. This is what I want to lead to, financially, being prudent, being wise, bringing our country together, solving problems together.
Ryan Binkley, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Phil. Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.